So I'm here with Robert Joki at the Oregon Historical Society, and you put together an exhibit. Could you tell us a little bit about the exhibit and what part you took in helping put this together?
Well, the exhibit's called Pedal to the Metal, and it's about the history of Oregon motorsports. And so what we did was, for the first time, assembled some really significant race cars that have either the race cars were built by Oregonians or were driven by Oregonians, in many cases at really significant national levels for national championships. And
awesome. And the car you have here behind you has the name Mark Smith on it.
Yeah,
and it's a car that I've seen before. Could you tell us a little bit about what we're seeing just right here behind you? And
sure. Well, this is an Indy Lights car that Oregonian named Mark Smith drove back in the late 80s and early 90s, and he actually won 3 different races in Cleveland, Laguna Seca, and Vancouver, and this won Rookie of the Year in Indy Lights. And so this is the type of a car that you would be driving and right before you would step into the Indy car itself. So this is called Indy Lights.
Awesome. And so how many times was this car actually? Was this a car that was actually used, or was it?
It was used over two full seasons. So he won Rookie of the Year the first season with it, and the second year he actually won second place in the championship. So
that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is
another
amazing.
car that goes on his story is the one right behind it, which is interesting. Is that this is a Super V, so this is one step before you would go to an Indy Lights car. And in this series, this car, Mark won a national championship, so he won the Super V trophy with it, and it still holds the track record at Indianapolis Raceway Park. All these years later, it turned the fastest lap that's ever been turned there. And last night they would have had the night before Indy race at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and they would not have gone as fast as Mark went in this car.
Wow, that's amazing. So what else could people expect to see down here? I know you got there's some motorcycles over here, and some other cars as we go around. I mean, it's a pretty amazing exhibit that you guys have put together. And I think most important is that some of these cars are still on the road, and a lot of them were used. But you've done a great job as I've walked around seeing the history of people from Oregon and what's accomplished. I mean, what other kind of things do you think stand out for people, or why would people want to come see this?
Well, there's many different things are covered, from motorcycle racing and a lot of the history of PIR, from sports cars themselves, and how in mid-century people would have gone out and got themselves a British sports car and learned to drive at the track at PIR. So it's not just about open wheel race cars or just about Indy cars. It kind of goes everywhere from pedal cars to Indy cars. That we cover all those bases. It was not easy when you're dealing with historic cars, as you say. A lot of them actually run, and so people that own and have invested money into a historic race car, they want to go out in the summertime and they want to go have fun with their car that they've restored. And so in this case, this show lasts all summer long, and it's Memorial Day today, and it goes through Labor Day. So the lenders had to commit that their car was going to stay here and for the entire summer. And so my co-curator, Mike Bell, with Oregon Motorsports Museum Association, he knows a lot of these guys, and so he was able to help me twist a lot of arms to say, we have to have your car. We know you want to go out and drive it, but it's too important that we have it. We have to have it in this show. And eventually, people were then recognizing that it was going to be a very significant show, and that their car was going to be a big contribution to it.
Awesome. What's your favorite piece down here?
Well, let me show you.
Okay. Walking through here.
This is the very first car that when I called Mike Bell, I said, if we're going to do this show, we have to have this car. It belongs to a Portlander named Don Sherby. But it was designed by IndyCar designer named Rolla Volstead, who's now 92 and lives here in Portland and has lived 90 of his 92 years here. If you go back to Indianapolis, he's considered a god. If you go to the Indianapolis Museum and you say you're from Portland, they say, do you know Rolla Volstead? However, here in Portland, it's not a name that people would commonly, think of. And so when he built this car, he revolutionized IndyCar design completely by putting the engine in the rear. Up to that point, the engines were in the front, and the cars were very different in design. And by putting the engine in the rear, it made them a lot faster, and so everybody else was playing catch-up from there. This is the first time it was done in an American car, in an Indy car, with American build and design, and it was designed right here in Portland, built in Portland. However, it was driven by first Len Sutton, who was a Portlander, but then by Mario Andretti, Bobby Unser, Cale Yarborough, Tom Sneva, some major drivers people have heard of. That's, you know, driven this in major national events, and you know, it's a revolutionary car. However, you know, it's a Portlander that innovated it.
Yeah, absolutely. This is amazing. Anything you'd like to say to the people out here that are going to catch this on Facebook and YouTube on the exhibit?
The show's going to be up all summer, and you know, if you want to have a personal tour of it, then I am available because I'm in the block here at least 5 days a week. So get a hold of me through Robert or whatever, and I'll be happy to give you a personal tour. So.
And where could they reach you here locally? You said you're right by here.
Sovereign Gallery is in the same building. I own an art gallery here, and so they can call me on the phone. My gallery number is 503-274-8809. Or if you're seeing this on Facebook, just look for me because Robert and I are friends on Facebook. So you can click on through and contact me that way too, and I'll be glad to give you a personal tour.
Awesome, thank you so much. I can tell you, if he's offering to give you a personal tour, take him up on it. The amount of knowledge and the stories behind the stories, and they have some that you can read, but hearing the history, how it got put together and everything is phenomenal. Getting a chance to meet Robert, the other Robert, I mean, you already know me. I'm pretty awesome too, but getting a chance to meet him and go through the exhibit is very cool. Hope you get a chance to come down and see it.